Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem video. This is a postmortem of my Blitz chess game number 64, where I kicked off with e4 and my opponent played the French defense. So let's check it out. He was snapping out these moves really quick, particularly, I don't have the time control here, but e6 was played as fast as I made my move. So he might have even pre-moved it, like he was going to play that against any possible opening move from white. So I don't know of any white move that would refute e6. I was thinking, well, gee, if I know automatically he's going to play e6, I should find some move which punishes that. I can put a bishop here, but I can't quite get there in one move. So I don't know if there's any way to punish the automatic e6. d4, but if you guys have any ideas, let me know. d5. So this is a French defense. I play knight c3. And if he plays knight f6, that's the classical French, and bishop b4 is the win-hour French. And what he plays, d takes e4, is known as the Rubinstein French. So a Rubinstein variation of the French defense. I called it the exchange variation in the game, I think, but then I corrected myself. The exchange is when white takes there, but when black takes there, this is the Rubinstein French. You take back. And now there's two normal follow-ups. One is knight d7, and the other is bishop d7. You look at, and bishop d7 is actually the line I've seen before. If the bishop goes from d7 to c6, that's called the Fort Knox variation of the French defense, Rubinstein. And it's supposed to be very solid. I think that's what the Fort Knox implies. But he didn't play that. He didn't play knight d7. He played bishop e7. So we're in pretty untrodden, unfamiliar territory. I haven't seen this position before on the board, so I'm just improvising. But knight f3, logical, developing moves. And then looks like knight takes f6, which I played here kind of automatically. You can support it with bishop d3, but a lot of times when your knight is challenged in the center, you can get rid of his developed piece, and the computer actually likes knight takes f6, and it puts his bishop on a square where maybe it's not doing so much. So there was one interesting tactic in this game, but it was played, so I can't keep it as a big surprise. But there's some interesting, so I'm going to leave the chess engine turned on, and there's some interesting highlights that it points out. So this 0.4 advantage for white, this is a stronger than normal opening advantage. So it doesn't really like black's opening play. It thinks white has a good game here. And if you follow along on the evaluations, it maintains an advantage for white all along here. And I'm not going to go into the small details. This will go between 0.4 and 0.6. Yeah, I guess c6, it's not impressed with c6. This is putting another pawn on a light square and blocking up this bishop. You might want to, I think a plan in this position is to try and play for c5 or e5, trying to break up the center somehow. And this move is slow and just not helping that much. Okay, but it doesn't win the game for you. It's this 0.4, 0.5 advantage is not enough to win with. So, but I keep developing my pieces, placing them on what I think are good squares, and with the idea of expanding, I put the queen here so I can kick the knight. And it's interesting, it looks like knight b4 is a losing move. And so let's explore this one a little bit. If he had played knight b4 here, I thought this was playable actually in the game. I didn't think that he had to move somewhere else. The way to refute it, it looks like I can play c5 hitting the queen, or bishop to d6. Bishop d6. That's the more direct threat. That's nice. That's a fork. And this is already attacked once, so with the addition of the bishop on it, it's attacked twice. So this is going to win material. Probably has to support the knight with a5, and then you can at least capture the exchange there. Okay, well that's cool. So in this position after c4, it's not possible to play knight b4, and in fact he selects the only playable move here, knight e7. And so I can put some more pressure on the center. I mean, this bishop here is loose, which may be a target to knight to e5. Plays h6, and put my knight up there, and he comes back to defend his bishop. Get my other rook in the center. So, and his bishop is retreating. So my advantage has just been slowly creeping up during this play. I've just been playing kind of logical moves, putting my pieces in the center, getting them developed, putting the rooks in the center, getting more space with the pawns in the center when I can, and developing my pieces. So this is probably not the most accurate move, but thanks. What? Queen d3, bishop c2, bishop f4, bishop c2. Okay, putting that bishop on a better diagonal. I kind of like the bishop on this diagonal for the moment because my plan is to push through the center, and I just want to get my queen out of the way, so I have a rook behind that pawn. h3. It's not a move that accomplishes a whole lot. Bishop f4, bishop to here. I don't really see the computer's plan. I think knight g4 is an interesting idea it came up with when just trying to harass this bishop. Okay, but so my plan is queen b4 and then push the pawn, which I do. And the computer doesn't think that's okay. Gives it more time, and then it still likes my play here. Keeps my advantage. And generally, when you have better development, you want to open up the center, open up lines. And then this move here is a big mistake. So I'm just maintaining my advantage. I have the ability to take this pawn with a tempo, so I don't have to retake the knight right away. And you see the way to refute this knight takes idea is to go ahead and take the pawn, which I did. I saw that far. And then he plays queen to c7, which is a mistake. And it's a bigger mistake than I realized. Now I go ahead with the right move. He takes f7. And now it's saying rook takes f7 should be played. That's kind of what I was expecting. Rook takes f7. Bishop takes f7 check. And then, and then he's in trouble. And I'm assuming I would have time to pick this guy up. But instead he runs with this king here. And this is a bigger mistake than I realized because my queen can just pick up that rook. So I missed that during the game, which that would have ended the game immediately. But I had spotted another trick, which is I've been worrying about my hanging knight here. But after he takes the knight, I can come here with the queen check. And this is a fork, checking the king and then double attacking the bishop, because it's just defended by his queen and attacked by my queen and rook. So this loses a piece, and so we now have equal material in terms of pieces, but I have two pawns, a two-pawn advantage, and plus this really strong advanced pawn. So he takes, I take, and then there's one more instructive moment here. I am just winning through all of this. It's right here. I took the wrong rook. What you want to do in a case like this is you want to take the away rook, this rook over here, to drag the rook out from its defensive position. I'll go and show that. If you play here, rook takes a8, and he takes back, then you can follow up with the rook here, and he can't get in front of this pawn anymore, and he can't stop it from queening. So that's the way I played. I should have played that, and instead I took this rook. And this is just much worse. I mean, I'm still winning, so I was playing kind of casually, I suppose. But the correct way to play this move is to take the other rook. Okay, but I took the f8 rook. He takes back, and then I realized, oops, I can't. Well, I can come back here, but it doesn't accomplish anything. Rook to f8 takes, king takes, and I decided I'd rather just keep my rook on. And the computer approves of this move. Just start harassing these pawns. And I will eventually win with my extra material. He makes things a little bit easier for me by trading off the bishop. And now I have just a completely won rook and pawn ending. When you have pawns on both sides of the board, and you have two connected pass pawns, they're quite strong. This move here, let's see, which one? This move here, rook to c5, that was probably not necessary. You can just go ahead with rook to b6 and then push the pawn and push the pawn. It's probably the simplest way to win this. But anyway, played rook c5 and then started moving the pawns on the other side. This is the advantage of having pawns on both sides of the board. You can use the pawns on one side. And you'll see I eventually, from rook c5, I eventually decide I have to go back here to defend the pawn and then go to b6. So I end up playing that plan anyway. So I could have just played that much earlier. Be a little faster, but this is still winning. And you have the inchworm technique. The rook defends one pawn, so you can, and the pawn defends the rook, and then you can advance the pawn the rook is defending, and then when this pawn is attacked, you advance that one. So it's It's a almost mindless technique you can use in these endgames when you have a 2-pawn advantage like that. And somewhere around here, my opponent eventually resigned. Here. Yep, so none too soon. It was definitely a losing position at this point. But interesting game, a few cute tactics in there. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I will see you again soon. Bye.